Hello, hello, hello. It's Shawn Ziem, the Connection Machine, aka the Insurance Doctor, the host of Webtalk Legends Podcast. We are doing these to provide massive value so that you in this community can continue to grow, to continue to learn, and actually take action and implement. It's all about making sure you sit back, relax, and take in the information. And if you have to, replay it later on because there's going to be massive golden nuggets in this conversation we have today. I've known Wayne for a while. I want to bring him on, get him from backstage onto our screen. Good morning, Wayne. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Sean?
How's everything with you? I know we in the Northeast, we're getting slammed with some snow. And how is it ever by you?
I'll say I'm glad I'm inside as opposed to outside today. It's looks like about 6, 7 inches thus far. My son went out, did the first round of shoveling, and in the next hour or two, once it settles, I'll get out there and do some stuff. But it's a good day to be inside, and I'm glad I'm able to spend some of this day with you.
No, I appreciate you as always to provide those value because those that are watching, don't forget, hit the hashtag live if you're watching, hashtag replay on the replay, and tell us where you're watching us from because this is a worldwide podcast. We're looking for anywhere and everywhere in the world. So we would love to see and show some love wherever you're from watching, you're watching from. So before we even get into it, can you give us an introduction of who you are, Wayne?
Sure, sure. So again, the name's Wayne De Coteau. My brand is Your Partner in Solar. I am a father, husband out of the Old Bridge, New Jersey area. Professionally, I help families, and I like to say, help families to own their electricity for less than they're paying to rent it from the utility companies. Right? 7 years in the solar space, and it's been a ride. It's been a great journey. I've been able to partner with a lot of professionals like yourself who help spread the word about clean, green, renewable energy.
It's something that a lot of people are afraid of, it seems like, for one. And it's something they don't have the education. And that's where Wayne comes in because he is one that is going to sit you down and give the information that people need. And not just the information overload. You're going to give the information that's the good and the bad, right?
Yeah, so when we looked at solar, and yes, I'll give them a full picture, right? When I first started in the industry back in 2014, one of the biggest questions, biggest concerns was, well, what happens if I try to sell my house, right? How does that potential buyer feel about it, right? Then you have the aesthetics. Ooh, I don't know if I like the way panels look. So my thought process was, hey, okay, if the biggest barrier to entry was what happens when I try to sell my house, I figured the best way to grow my business was to get in front of real estate professionals, educate them on what that process means, right? Like I've heard a lot of people say, hey, solar's another bill. Well, when we think about it, you have a utility bill and that doesn't go away, right? But when you now have solar, it is a bill in lieu of an oftentimes larger utility bill. People say, well, I don't know if I have the money for it. And I'll ask them, let me ask you a question. Are you paying a light bill? Yes. Okay, so what do you mean you don't have the money for solar? And it takes a while. You ask that question a couple of times, and I said, well, Wayne, what do you mean? I said, well, think about it. You're spending, as an example, $200 to the local utility company. We have a conversation. We position you where you can either own your system or, what people were doing in the beginning, leasing their systems. So customer A, if you're spending $200 to your local utility company, we make the connections, we install the system. There's nothing out of a pocket, no out of pocket cost. And now when the switch is flipped, you're paying us, as an example, $130, and you're paying the utility company $5. Well, you just went from paying $200 a month to paying $135. So I have to ask you again, what do you mean you can't afford it? Because you're paying a $200 bill right now, right? And once that resonates, it's like, oh, because people see all the ads, they say free, 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 and then someone shows up and they say, well, there's 100 and X amount of dollar monthly cost. It was a gotcha. And I try to avoid at all costs saying free because again, people have seen all these ads, and it's almost seems like a bait and switch. But at the end of the day, when they talk free, they're saying you can have a system installed, you can transition to clean, green, renewable energy without any cost. Um, Home space, I would talk to someone and say, all right, so you have an oil tank and you want to go and transition to natural gas. Well, there's a significant cost in making that transaction. There's usually an out of pocket cost to do that. With solar, you're going from taking traditional energy to getting clean, green, renewable energy. And 90% of the times, you're doing that without any cost. It's we sign the agreement, we do the work. Now you're making a monthly payment after the system is turned on. There's a few customers that want to buy a system cash. And of course, we know in this world, cash is king. Well, I'll say crypto is king, but we'll talk about that later. But cash is king. And so a customer who might say, hey, I don't want to finance a system for 25 years, that client may decide that they want to purchase a system cash, just meaning they're not financing it through the solar company. And they usually have some savings in doing so. But 90% of the times, my clients who own their systems, they sign an agreement. They were paying the utility company X. Now they're paying the solar company X minus. And if you own your system here and where we are in New Jersey, now you literally have the utility company acting as if they're a tenant and they're paying you for the next 15 years. That for
Massive,
me has been the biggest benefit of homeowners here.
massive. That's awesome. You've been doing solar for how long?
It's going on my 8th year. Started in the
So
summer of 2014.
in 8 years ago, you're thinking about getting into solar. You're into a sales, a people, a relationship business. Was it very, very easy for you when you first started? Was it just deals just coming in, opportunities just keep coming in when you first started your first
Absolutely
sales?
not. Absolutely not.
Can you talk about how you had to develop things back then?
Sure, sure. So the biggest benefit, the biggest attribute to, if I could use the term my success, is working and partnering, right? And as I started going from Wayne the solar sales guy to Wayne the solar specialist,
Yes.
as my method started changing to literally creating partnerships, is where the brand, Your Partner in Solar, came about, right? So salespeople sell you,
Mm-hmm.
and if all goes well, there's a benefit for you, the purchaser. When you look at partnership, it invokes a sense of mutual benefit, right? You have to win, I have to win, we have to be mutually benefited. There's a partnership. In the beginning, my only way of getting customers was going out and knocking doors. And that worked well, right? Door knocking still works. I still love it. I do it more so to train the team now than actually doing it for myself. But door knocking was the initial method of acquiring customers. So back in 2014, solar wasn't as robust as it is now. So now there's well, I don't know if this thing really works. I don't trust it, right? I don't know enough people who've done it. And then they would find the one or two people that they knew who did it. And then it would be, okay, well, let me talk to the neighbor 4 blocks away who I'd seen. Let me figure it out if it's working for them, right? There were quite a few companies in the space. Now it's okay. It's not, I can talk to my friend, because you're now from a popularity standpoint, probably 1 in 15 homes has it right now.
Mm.
Back then it was, well, I don't know anybody who's done it. I don't trust it. And then the toughest piece was, let me speak to my friend who's a realtor. Okay. And you had mentioned earlier, a lack of education always breeds doubt. So when people went to transition a home with solar, there was this dirty word, right? This lien. Okay. There's that ugly, nasty word, a lien. It's a UCC1 filing, literally saying, I just need to know who's taking care of the solar system. If a real estate professional doesn't understand the steps involved, they, with respect to them, again, look, their job is to get your home sold with as little obstacles as possible. So it was really easy for them to say, just don't do it, because there might be a problem when you transfer it. What if the other person doesn't like it? What if the other person doesn't see a benefit? And so as I transition, now I'm partnering with more and more real estate professionals. Now I'm getting into offices and I'm answering questions. What is this lien thing? Like, okay, great. Once you understand, a lien is the solar company saying to the potential bank that's taking on this loan, who's responsible for making this payment? Hey, well, if I'm the homeowner and I see value in that solar system, if this person is paying, as an example, $100 a month to the solar company relative to paying $150 a month to the utility company, then it becomes less of an issue. So one thing that I found, that little piece, that little conversation, it is a bill, yes, in lieu of a larger bill to the utility company. All of a sudden there was, whoa, it starts to make sense. So as we transitioned, okay, we have happy customers. I like to say I have a very generous referral program. So I go to those happier customers and I ask, your friends, your neighbor, your cousin, they're going to ask at some point, what was your experience with solar? From a selfish perspective, what was your experience dealing with your sales representative? And it gets to a point where they say, sales representative. No, no, I have a partner. I don't have a sales representative. I have a partner in solar, right? Do that enough times, start now reaching out to real estate professionals, insurance professionals, just partnering with folks because you, Shawn, in the community, you're a trusted advisor. If you understand the benefit of solar, someone may ask you a question. One, you always have a resource. You know, if there's a question you don't have the answer to, again, with the brand you're partner in solar, I would tell all my professionals, please, whether it's someone that has a system already and they have a question, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer those questions. If I can be a resource to my network, then the referrals that we all want, that starts to come.
Those that are
Right?
watching, that is key. You're not a salesperson. Your title is everything, and changing that is a mindset change as well. So that is important for those that are watching. Don't just say you're a salesperson. No one likes to be sold, but if you can give education, give value, they know, like, and trust you, they're going to do business with you because that's what's going to happen. But if you go in there and always be closing, that's going to be a different story. So I appreciate hearing these things because lots of people out there that are in the sales world, and we all are, we're selling ourselves. We're not selling products and services in reality. As long as we can sell ourselves to whoever we're talking to, they're going to buy majority of the time, or they need an extra few, moments to make that decision. But that's important to keep that in mind, everyone that's watching. It's important to make sure that you find that title that will be unique. And that's unique for Wayne. I have one for myself. It's important for everyone that wants to be successful. Let's change gears. And, you're doing a lot of video. What got you involved with video?
So we go back to the old adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I'll ask myself, well, how much more is a video worth, right? And I've looked at commercials my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
You can take an entire presentation or a synopsis and lock it into a 30-second TV spot. So much so that now you're getting to a point where people have a pretty good understanding of what you're offering. When I do videos, in fact, I think one of the ones that I generated going on 3 years ago, it was solar's a great investment in New Jersey, right? We would go in and we'd have a conversation with the family, and typical kitchen table conversation for a presentation is about an hour. I try to find a way to recap that entire conversation in 2 minutes. And that, when I do a video, that is the methodology. It's like, okay, I want to give you a short form for what we're going to discuss, right? People often ask, they say, hey, well, what's a solar lease or a PPA? Compressing it into a 1.5-minute video sets the tone. So now I go into a home, I'll have an idea of whether the family is interested in ownership or a lease, because 90% of my business today is actually referrals. So if you purchased a system, you own a system, you're more than likely referring someone to do the same, right? While I'm prepping paperwork, I'll ask the homeowner, hey, I'd like you to take a minute, watch this video. And this video sets the entire tone for what we're going to speak about, for whether it's the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Now it's a matter of answering your questions. But I find video does such a great job in compressing what we need to share, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people, like, there's information overload. That's a term I've heard you use a lot. I can sit there with a 2-minute video and give you a pretty good explanation. And now all we do is apply the information to your particular scenario.
You're taking objections that people have and you're getting them to have the answers themselves by watching your video. They see you, they get to learn about your passion that comes through on a video. They can't go on an image, it can never come across that well. And you can actually, if those are in the sales that are in right now, set up a little system, have 3 or 4 different videos, maybe 5. There's usually 5 to 7 objections, no matter what kind of thing you sell or product. Come up with those 5 or 7, create videos and send them, put them in an email before you have your meeting. Hey, do me a favor. Can you watch these videos? I have a playlist. I want you to take 20 minutes to go through these 5 videos, 6 videos, and it'll help you enable them basically to open their mind. They'll understand before they even have a conversation with you. And it speeds up your process. So I definitely agree with you. It's huge. And if you're not using it, providing value, giving tips and strategies, and also give them steps of the process and objections, it will definitely change the game for you. Now, you had a mention before crypto. I know a lot of people that's something that people don't know about, and they're learning it from, sometimes it could be scam artists out there. Can be people that are not, trustworthy. That's why the education is very important. So what do you know, and how have you been learning about crypto?
So I'll say I've learned a lot of it from the school of hard knocks, right? We speak about the scam artists. I can't profess to be a crypto expert, but I'll say that I'm very happily dabbling in it, right? We understand crypto in its basis of concept. It is a digital currency that is a decentralized currency, right? Our fiat currency is based on what the bank says. Crypto in the whole, it's a trust system. And if everybody has access to the ledger, then nobody can fake anything because everyone sees what's going on. We spoke recently and we looked at, I guess, people generating wealth, right? Insurance is a means to transition wealth from one generation to the next. Real estate at some point has been one of the biggest creators of wealth. The stock market has done the same, but we're finding more and more crypto millionaires popping up. And it's not necessarily something where it takes 15, 20 years of diligently investing and compounding and growing. In a lot of cases, it's luck. You find the right coin and that coin explodes. Oh, there's another 500 millionaires, right? So I'm purchasing some coins. I'm now leaning towards a buy and hold strategy, but I'm also using platforms, and those platforms are starting to, let's say, pay you for use of your crypto. And why I reference coming into it from the School of Hard Knocks, when I started in 2017, I was introduced to Bitcoin back when I remember my first Bitcoin cost me $1,100, 2017. And I put it into one of these platforms and it kept growing, but then the platform fizzled out. So I'll still utilize platforms. I'll do a bit more due diligence, but now any earnings that I get from these platforms, the goal is to take earnings, create a crypto portfolio outside of the platform, let that grow.
That's a strategy. That's definitely a strategy.
Right, because again, it's again, most times, unfortunately, it's a gamble when you're dealing with these platforms.
Oh, we lost you.
Over the last 2 years, I've been using it for a year. I don't want to make income claims, but I'll say this. I've been able to generate in an ongoing manner a couple $1,000s of new crypto using earnings from that platform. All right, so I'll keep earning, I'll pull out, I'll buy, and I'm building my portfolio.
It's important that people that are watching, you're gonna try different things.
I lost audio. Can you hear me, Shawn?
I can hear you now. I can't
hear you anymore.
You can't. You lost audio. Uh-oh. You came back. You lost for a moment.
Try me now.
Yep, I can hear you.
I unfortunately can't hear you. Let's try taking this off.
How about now? You good?
Still can't. Hey, should I leave and come back in? I think what happened, my messenger rang in
Okay.
Facebook. I hung up that call. So should I disconnect and reconnect?
Yeah, disconnect and come on back. And as we're waiting for Wayne to return, make sure that if you are interested in getting on board and being a guest on a future Web Talk Legends podcast, reach out to me. Send me a message. We'll love to have you. Share your story. Share what you're doing. Share your business. Share your brand. It's important that we get more of you that are on Web Talk involved.
I
He's
can hear you now.
back. Now, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Awesome. And those that are watching, again, with the crypto, with anything, it's what I'm hearing from Wayne, and I'm hearing from a lot of successful people, it's they try different things, and they're trying it for periods of time. Anyone that's watching, some of you will try things for a day, 2 days, maybe a week, and things don't go the way you're going, and you stop doing it. I remember when I first started doing video back in 2018, I did it for 6 months before I got anything from it. And my wife's like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing all this video?" And I'm like, "It's gonna just let it flow, let it happen." And it did. It definitely will change the game. And if I stopped, 5 months, I would have never seen what's going right now currently. And at this time, I make sure I continue with that flow. What's going on, Adrian? I saw you, Deanna. Make sure that you are trying different things. If it's crypto, if it's video, if it's you want to look into more information on solar, it's important to get educated first. That's what a big key thing, and have those value conversations of why things like that need to happen. Now, I would love to hear about what is your day like? Are you one that gets up early and has a certain routine, or do you have more routine going to bed? How is your day set up?
So now that I don't want to say post pandemic, I'm back into my routine, which is 3 to 5 days a week. I'm up at 4:30. I'm playing basketball from 5:15 up until about 7 o'clock. Right? There's a group of guys. We send out a WhatsApp thread, and if enough people say yes, we get 10 or better. We're at the ball court. Right? These are all fathers, husbands, guys who have 9 to 5s, and so imagine you having kids. And again, this is my scenario. You have a couple kids. I've got a couple kids. Imagine we go out, we do our work day, we come home and say, "Hey, honey, great to see you, but I'm going to go out to the gym and hang out with the fellas." Right? This allows me to get my exercise in earlier in the morning. I'm back home by 7. My wife and I, we kind of share the responsibilities with getting the kids. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, she'll get the kids ready. I get home 6 o'clock, get my 14-year-old up and out of the house. My 11-year-old, he gets on his bus at 7:40. So I'll do it usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we'll kind of alternate the Fridays. But I'll get in 45 minutes or so I can get back in the house and do my part. And again, not take away from family time, right? As it relates to work, a lot of my work these days are Zooms as I'm building the sales team. A lot of my appointments are Zooms with members of the team, helping them educate families on the process. I'll still go out every so often and do some door knocking. But again, most of that door knocking is done for training and just to let's keep the edge, as it were, right? I remember when I was first introduced to door-to-door residential sales at Cablevision back in 2010, the supervisors did not have, and I'm going to say the opportunity, I'm going to say the benefit, because I think it's a privilege to be out there face to face, right? A supervisor then could not sell. Maybe they had inside information that the company thought was a disadvantage. When I went into management in solar, I said, "Look, I'll do it as long as I can continue to sell." Because one of the things I didn't like was my supervisor saying, "Hey, you should have done this, this, or this," when the last time they were actually in front of a client was when the offer was an offer 3 years ago. So by me getting out there, knocking doors, doing it face to face, I can keep what I like to say the edge, right? So my day, again, we get out early, get some sports in, come in. I'll do my 6 eggs, 4 egg whites, 2 whole eggs in the morning, maybe some carb. Get on a Zoom. I'll listen to some audiobooks. Do what I can around the house. Follow up with clients. reach out to the office, make sure our installs are lined up, permits are all moving along, just normal sales process. And thankfully, I'm home a lot more now where I can do this work-life balance thing, right? I don't know if you saw my recruiting video that was posted last summer, but the goal was to develop a lifestyle where someone could earn their six figures, but do it within about 25 hours a week. Right? I find for sales, and I've been in sales for a while, it's really a sacrifice to provide for your family. It's like you almost have to give up time with
Yes.
your family in order to provide for your family. And I'm so grateful that my transition, and I can't say just doing solar was automatically responsible for that, because there are, let's say, opportunities in the solar space where the company is going to give you 3-4 appointments a day, and you're running here, running there, running there, running there. That works for some. I'm fortunate now where, primarily because of the referral programs that are put in place, the education that's put in place, I'm able to earn a comfortable living, and I'm able to see my family a lot more. Um, my days now is working with 3 or 4 individual team members and trying to get them to that point. Find that happy medium. Hey, you know what? You're earning enough to take your family on vacation, but you're not one of those guys that say, "Hun, you take a vacation with the kids because I'm really too busy." So we've been able to find that happy medium.
That I well said, and I appreciate hearing that. You have a lot of you're worried about your health. You're taking care of that in the beginning. You don't have to jeopardize it because oh, I have the kids. You're making it the first thing you do. You're working on your personal development. You're collaborating with your team throughout the day. You're doing and using technology to make your life easier. I love having meetings with StreamYard or Zoom rather than face to face. I love face to face, but you can have more of them in your day to now scale your business instead of sitting there and sometimes you go to a coffee appointment and you get that text, oh, I can't make it now. It's like, now what? You just drove 30 minutes to wherever to, post up, and now you got to change your whole outlook. But if it's a Zoom meeting, but like, all right, here's value. If you haven't used a Calendly, I use that religiously because I can make my schedule on when I want to talk to people, not just randomly someone calls me. If it's Wayne calling me and I see it's Wayne because you're in my phone, I'll answer the phone. If it's not, if you're not in my phone, I'm not answering. You're going right to voicemail, and you'll probably get a text, hey, do me a favor, schedule something on my Calendly so I can have a conversation with you. Very important that you, those that are watching, have a strategy, have a routine, have something, a system that you have other people follow. So we're going to start wrapping up right now. And I love this part because whatever pops into your head, I want you to share with us. What are some final thoughts that are watching? They are in Web Talk, they're salespeople, they're affiliate marketers, there's network marketers, there's real human beings that are into their business. What can you share with them to round out our call?
I'm going to say, I'm going to go back. When you started asking about video, I didn't take the time to bring it back to you. You are the perfect example of how someone should use Web Talk, right? What I sell, what you sell, it's not every day. We don't have a restaurant where people are seeing our content and saying, hey, what am I in the mood for today? For me, you buy a house, they say people buy 3 houses maybe in their lifetime. Well, it's not every day you want to commit to a 25-year scenario, right? With solar. I love the way that you consistently put content out, right? Your content is all over the place. And people may not necessarily need insurance today, but Shawn, what you put out to the public makes it so that they have to consider having a conversation with you when that time arises, right? One of my previous jobs was selling advertising, selling billboards. And from 2004 up until 2009, Geico was one of the biggest national providers, to the point where I felt it was crazy to not reach out to them just to hear what they have to offer, because they're in your face all the time. You always put education out there, you always put value out there. So I'm going to say you're a perfect example of how someone using Web Talk or any social media, how can they bring value to their customers They can be present. And again, it's not sell, sell, sell. I don't think I've ever seen a video with you that says, hey, you should come buy from me because XYZ, buy now. I don't think I've ever seen that. Consistent sharing of value. A lot of times when you're on, I'll go on and I'll say, thanks for dropping those gems. If people would use social media the way you do it, if they can continue to drop gems, if they can educate clients in their space, hey, they may not need you today, but when they do, you're certainly an option, right? In the beginning, your wife was asking, why are you doing this all the time? And I was laughing to myself when I heard that, because I put content out. And you know the old Facebook meme, hey, I want to thank the 12 of you that are always liking my posts. Okay. There's so many people that see your content. They don't comment, they don't share, they don't like, but I get calls when they're ready. Hey, Wayne, I've seen your content. I'm ready. So if I can leave something with the group, do like Shawn does. Consistently share content. When the time is right for your client, they know who to reach out to because you're there, you're present.
Thank you very much for that compliment. I try to be an example to everyone that is out there because, yes, it's not all about close, close, close. It's all about providing the value and let somebody actually close themselves by giving that extra value that nobody else is doing. And I challenge people, get in front of the camera and start doing it. And don't just do it for a couple days, do it for at least 6 months and watch what will happen to you. I mean, look at what happened to me. I'm now a host of Webtalk Legends, where Scott Gerard, the CEO, reached out to me and said, hey, you're doing the same thing for your business with the Connection Conversation Show. I want you to host. Things happen. Opportunities are given to you if you continue to provide massive value, education, and just put people first instead of your commission check. That's a huge thing. So
There you go.
Wayne, I appreciate you, man, coming on. Those that are watching, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, like this video and others that we have. And if you're looking to be a guest, reach out to me. And as always, guys, we hope that you have an awesome day.
Shawn, I thank you, sir.